Hello students, welcome to Legacy IAS Academy. Today we are going to discuss about a cryptocurrency or most important cryptocurrency, most popular cryptocurrency, that is Bitcoin, which has in the first time of its history has crossed the mark of 100,000. What it means that today the value of one Bitcoin is equal to 100,000 US dollars. In Indian rupees, it will be somewhere about 8.4 to 8.5 million. So what's behind this sudden surge or increase in the price of the Bitcoin, the value of Bitcoin? That is what we are trying to decipher in today's video. So to give you the brief context, this recent rise that we have observed in past few weeks, we can say, where the Bitcoin for the first time in history has crossed the 100,000 mark, can directly be related to the re-election of the Donald Trump and his return back to the White House. White House, as you know, is the official residence of the US president. So as we know that in the election results of around November 4 and 5, that is when it was clear that he has defeated the Kamala Harris, his opponent, and he will be sworn as the president of the United States somewhere in the month of January next year. So the Donald Trump's entry into White House basically has led the investors to believe that he will be the one who will show regulatory lenience as far as the regulation of cryptocurrency is concerned. And Bitcoin has raised by or increased its value by 130% in this particular year so far, with the post-US elections rally accounting for a significant portion of its gain. Most of the gains that we are talking about Bitcoin has come basically after the election results were declared in the United States. And to understand this, let us look at the graph here. So you will see that how the Bitcoin has risen from its point of inception or conception. So the Bitcoin began to trade or was opened for investors to buy somewhere in the year 2009-2010, and at that time, if you look, the value of one Bitcoin was $0.3 only. That means in the today's term, it was, we can say, 25 rupees. So from 25 rupees to 8.5 million rupees, that is the rise that Bitcoin has observed. So if you look here, the value began to rise. The most significant rise it has happened in the Bitcoin was in the year 2020, when it rose by almost 300% from $7,000 to $29,000, and since then it has kept on going up and down based on the regulatory clearances and the decisions taken by multiple countries across the world. And today, when you're talking about on the December 5th, 2024, it has crossed the 100,000 mark, and it was trading at the value of $100,000 $102,391 overall. So more than $100,000 we can say. Now, what is the effect of the election of Donald Trump? If you look here, this graph will clearly show you that how it has impacted. So we know that somewhere on the November 4th, it was clear to us that Donald Trump is returning back to the US as as its president, and at that time the value of Bitcoin was just $67,000. So from November 4 to December 4, within a month, the value has increased from 67,000 to 102,000. That means almost 52.6% of positive gain Bitcoin has recorded. That is why we're calling it the biggest factor is Trump's victory in the US election that has resulted into this rise. Now, before going further into the video, if we try to understand that what is Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, as you know, it is a type of digital currency which more popularly is called as cryptocurrency, and it is nothing but a medium of exchange, same like we have gold, same like we have rupees, dollars and all that. So sorry, not gold, but rupee and dollar. We're talking about the fiat money. But the difference is that rupee and dollar is a physical asset, that is physical money. You exchange it, you can exchange it physically. But cryptocurrency does not have any physical form. It is only stored in the digital form. That is why it is also called as a digital currency. And the Bitcoin basically is using a technology that is popularly referred as a blockchain technology and uses encryption technique. And this encryption technique is what that is used both for the creation of new Bitcoins as well as to verify the exchange of the Bitcoin that might have happened between two peoples or two entities. So Bitcoin today, if we talk about in the world of cryptocurrency, Bitcoin is having the largest share. It is the largest in terms of the value, in terms of volume, followed by a second cryptocurrency that is called as ETH or Ethereum. And now we have multiples, more than 10 different cryptocurrencies are there that are popular in the market, but Bitcoin has maintained its edge in terms of volume and in terms of the popularity or in terms of market capitalization. So the same way how you can exchange or transfer rupee and dollar, you can transfer or transact in the Bitcoin as well. For example, if you have a Bitcoin wallet that you can take by opening up an account on many exchanges that facilitate the transaction of Bitcoin, once you open an account, you will be provided with a Bitcoin wallet. Then you can buy Bitcoin, and suppose you have your friend who also has opened an account and she has a Bitcoin wallet as well. So similarly, how you transfer money, suppose from example, India have talked the IMPS, RTGS, NEFT, several mediums of transfers are there. So the same way you can transfer Bitcoin from your wallet to your friend's wallet, and that is how the transaction basically works. So very simple method of transaction, as the same case as we have with the any other currencies or medium of exchange. Now we know that the Trump's election or re-election has resulted in the meteoric rise of the Bitcoin. Now, what are the decisions that he has taken or he might take in the future that will influence or that might have influenced already the possibility of the rise of the Bitcoin in prices? So, first is he has elected a person called as Paul Atkins to lead the SEC. SEC stands for Security and Exchange Commission. That is a regulatory body for the Bitcoin or any kind of currency as such. If we talk about India, the equivalent of SEC we have is the SEBI, that is Security and Exchange Board of India. So Atkins, his viewpoint is considered a cryptocurrency advocate. That means he believes in overall validating the cryptocurrency or increasing the uses of cryptocurrency, both for the government purposes as well as for the private transaction purposes. And just hours after his name was announced by the President Trump, the Bitcoin has touched the value of $100,000. So that is how this news is strongly related to each other. Under the Joe Biden administration, this was not the case, because during his administration, the SEC was headed by a person called as Gary Gensler, who was against crypto industry, and he has massively cracked down upon the crypto industry, where he has taken several steps, such as he has sued companies or charged companies for fraud and money laundering, and has assessed billions of dollars in fine, especially for those companies which are dealing largely in the cryptocurrency. So this sudden change in the leadership of US from anti-crypto to pro-crypto is what is behind the meteoric rise of Bitcoin in simple terms. Now, interestingly, Donald Trump was not always pro-crypto friendly. He has actually taken a 180-degree turn, especially during his election campaigns of 2024. And it is believed by many experts the reason behind his U-turn on crypto was to woo or attract the younger male voters who might think that if the Bitcoin is legalized, or not only legalized, but if Bitcoin is promoted, obviously it will attract the male young voters, because these are the people who are largely engaged in dealing and trading and investing in the Bitcoins. And that is why his campaign, the political campaign, election campaign, focused on positive messaging around cryptocurrencies, where he has promised two things. First thing, he has said he will promote Bitcoin as a strategic reserve. A strategic reserve is same like you have a US dollar reserve or you have domestic currency reserve, that the regulators, if talk about India, RBI has a forex reserve like US dollar reserves, and whenever there is a volatility in the rupee, what happens? RBI then pumps out or takes in rupees or pumps out US dollars and all. So that is the way how monetary easing and monetary policy works. So rather than using US dollars only, Trump has said that Bitcoin can also be used as strategic reserve, a strategic asset. Today we have gold, US dollars. These are two most important strategic assets. Bitcoin can then be third. And second, he has said that the crypto miners who are involved in recording the transactions that is happening in the Bitcoins, or even in generation of new Bitcoins, for them there will be a favorable energy policy. Now this is important because crypto mining requires a lot of energy. So a lot of power consumption is there, and if the energy policies are made pro-crypto, obviously the cost of mining will reduce. That will further increase the volume of circulation of cryptocurrency. So Trump has also launched his own cryptocurrency business called as World Liberty Finances. So there is his personal interest as well in promoting crypto. Now it is not the only factors. There are several other factors. For example, a surge in optimism as government and institutions worldwide has began to embrace the blockchain technology, which is the basic technology, or which we can say is the basis of the Bitcoin, and it has paved the way for broader adoption and investment in the digital asset. Today, if we talk about, investor has many digital asset classes. For example, he can invest in mutual funds, he can invest in gold, he can invest in what you can call as commodities like silver, he can invest in what you can call as the stocks. So apart from all these options, or you have more traditional options like what you can call as a fixed deposits, NPS, you have PPF and all that in India. So apart from these asset classes, now Bitcoin has also become a mature ecosystem, and that is why it is being considered as another asset class which investors can put some money into, so that there can be capital appreciation in the future as the value of the Bitcoin rises. So it is becoming a very normal, which would not have been thought of about 5 to 6 years back. And today about 3% of the total supply of Bitcoins that we have in the world that will ever exist have been purchased in 2024 by institutional money. So we have to understand this is very important development, because institutions only put their money in such assets where they believe that in the future there is a possibility of rise in the value of these assets, and because they are very responsible investor. Many times what happens, the retail investor or individual investor, because of these sentiments of fear and greed, take wrong decisions or invest in something which they do not understand. Institutional investor, on the other hand, they have a lot of research, they have a lot of brains working in the area of finance. So if they are investing, that means they have done their homework, they have done their research on the future of crypto, and that has also caused the popularity and increase in the value of crypto. Impact in India, if we talk about now, in the India journey of cryptocurrency has been quite topsy-turvy. There are a lot of changes and the decisions has been taken. Investors, on the other hand, if you compare with the other investors in the European countries or US, the investors in India might not share the same enthusiasm as their American counterpart. The reason is because, first of all, as compared to other countries, the taxation rate on crypto is highest in India, or very high in India, where you have to pay 30% on any gains you make from the exchange or from the transaction of any cryptocurrency, plus 1% additional TDS, that is tax deducted at source, is also added. So total 31% of tax you will have to pay on the crypto assets gains. Second, if you compare this with the other assets, for example, if you make gains from the stocks or mutual fund, it is very less, almost we can say 30% of what we have to pay on the crypto assets. Second, the banking sector in India is less than kind as far as its outlook toward the asset is concerned. The banks are not very interested in using crypto or validating crypto. And in this regard, if you go back into 2018, where you have the CBDT, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes, they have submitted a draft scheme to the finance ministry, where they has asked the finance ministry to ban all kinds of virtual currency. So obviously, in this kind of mindset, investor of India cannot risk of putting his money in such kind of asset which might not exist tomorrow for the Indian investor. So that is why the enthusiasm in India is relatively lesser. Second, the main regulator of the what you can call as the currency or the banks in India, that is RBI, it also has restrained banks from dealing in the cryptocurrencies. However, in 2020, this decision was reversed after the judgment was given in the favor of cryptocurrency by the Supreme Court of India. Now, if we talk about the overall view of the regulator, that is RBI, it basically aims at, or it is very vocal in assessing the problems that crypto assets can generate in the future, and even RBI has termed them as a macroeconomic risk if heavy investment is done in India or heavy enthusiasm is generated in India in the crypto assets. However, in 2022, the Finance Minister of India, Nirmala Sitharaman, she said that though the RBI is wishing for a ban on the cryptocurrency, this is not possible. Reason is because the digital currency does not have a border. That means the transaction of digital currency happens across the world. It is borderless and without any kind of firm international collaboration. This kind of ban is something that will not be effective, and cryptocurrency as digital currency is borderless in nature. That is the main reason behind it. So that is why, rather than putting a ban, he has put a tax of 30% on the cryptocurrency. Now, if we try to understand, so that is overall what we can call as the situation that exists in India today. If we talk about the view of the International Monetary Fund on this issue, a paper was published after the request of the G20 presidency that was led by India. So a joint work of IMF and the FSB, that is Financial Stability Board, was done, where the paper has recommended that rather than putting an outright ban of crypto on the crypto assets in India, the Indian government should try to have a licensing approach toward the crypto service providers or crypto based exchanges, and outright ban will not work. So the crypto narrative in India has been caught in this false premise of the central digital currency and what the government calls as private crypto. So the government of India and the RBI has come up with a proposal that we should have our own virtual currency, that is generally referred as CBDT. So Indian investor had missed the strong proposition of Bitcoin by framing it as a private currency, which they feel that it is not safe, it is risky to invest in it because they can lose their money. So it said that the cryptocurrency could be a way for government to build reserve, and that is exactly now we see is what is being proposed by Trump. And not only Trump, many of the state governors of USA already has given green light to this particular proposal, where they will promote and use Bitcoin as their strategic reserve. Now, if this becomes possible, we can see a further increase in the value of Bitcoin as we go ahead. Now, based on this mains question, you can try to attempt, because the Bitcoin and the development and the rise of cryptocurrency is relevant for both papers of GS3, that is economy as well as science and technology. So, what do you understand by the term cryptocurrency? That is the basic questions where you have to describe in details what is cryptocurrency with examples and discuss the regulatory challenges the developing countries like India face in this regard. How they cannot ban it, but at the same time, they cannot prevent the uses of the Bitcoin or investment in the Bitcoin. So that is what we have to describe here. So that is all for this particular video. I hope you understood overall the concept of the Bitcoin, how it works, and why we are seeing a sudden meteoric rise in its value.